Jehovah is as near this day as in the time of the ancients. Put yourself in order, becoming one with him. And no book is so easily read as his created universe. Inspiration comes less by books than by what Jehovah wrote. His worlds read him and his works. Frame your speech and your thoughts for him. He will answer you in your own behavior and in the happiness of your soul. Great wisdom cannot be attained in a day, nor purity and strength to overcome temptation, till the growth is from the foundation. The fool will say, the sacred books are no more than man of his own knowledge could write. Yet he has not wisely imitated the power of the words of your God. Let him do this well, and behold, he will also declare my words are from me. Yes, he will recognize them wherever found. It is the will and wish of your God that all men become constitutionally capable of receiving and comprehending the highest life, and that they shall no longer depend upon any priest, church, oracle, holy book, or upon consulting the spirits, and that their behavior may make the earth a place of peace, with long life to all people, for the glory of Jehovah. To his Etherian gods and goddesses, Jehovah said, as you have founded arcs of light in my Etherian heavens, to determine the travel of my corporeal worlds, so shall my God of the earth inspire mortals to build lighthouses for man's ships that travel on the oceans, and those who travel in the ships. And those on the land shall know when a ship nears the port, even as you see my traveling earth approaching the place of Cosmology. For this shall be an illustration to mortals, that I have appointed cycles of times and dawns of times, with gods and goddesses to superintend my creations in tenderness and love, lest by chance man becomes despondent, saying, alas, Jehovah did not provide in wisdom commensurate with the magnificence of his creations. Behold, the time draws near when the nations of the earth shall course around the whole earth in ships, crossing the seas and oceans to all the places I created.
Big up yourself with a big rhythm that, you know. A big blood clot rhythm that, you know, King. Yes, family, what's the vibe? What's the vibe? What happened to you? Why are you crying so far? What happened to you? You want to go outside? You want to go outside? Yes, family, what's the word, Joe? What's the word? Big up yourself, large up yourself. Give me your one in the chat if I could be heard. Give me your one in the chat if I could be heard. You know how we do. We're gonna get this camera thing straight now. Where's that big Ryan? What happened to you? Hold tight, everybody hold tight. Okay, we're going to take you outside, yeah? Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Come on, everything is a vibes over here, yo. Y'all see what the title and the topic is? You know what I mean? I'm unseen right now. I'm dwelling in the unseen right now. You can't see the God. You know what I mean? Jehovah says you have the seen and the unseen. I am the unseen right now. You can just hear the voice. What's the word, family? I see the family chiming in. See y'all. Let me see if I can get my goddamn screen to show. You know what I mean? I'm assuming I gotta get another camera. Cause this one is all torn up, worn out. Look at that. Count till we get the thing for sure. Yes, Nazarene. Where's the big man? It's a vibe indeed. Back at it, where you say? But there. Yeah, so y'all know what the vibe is, man. The boy Salai Shalom in the building. What's the word? You see what the title is. Salute the Cosmology on another victory over Gideon. You know what I mean? I see we got a lot of haters with the Sawaspi. Ain't nothing new. But boy, they show face over there. You know what I mean? Cosmology had a debate about which book is better for our people. Although we debated this topic numerous times, it seemed like they can't get outside of that topic. Now, they want you to believe that, salute Cosmon Cal, what's the word, King? Hey, if you want to hop on Cosmon and talk about some of that debate you had, because I checked it out. The night you had a debate, I fell asleep and I woke up around like 1 or 2 in the morning. I seen you was doing an after party, so I went back and watched it the following day. Sure enough, man, nigga ain't had nothing on you, son. Nigga. And I ain't gonna lie, you was over their head a lot too. When you brought up Chinese and shit like that, nigga, that shit was way over their head. They don't even comprehend that, you know what I mean? But it's still that you just fed it to them and showed them that, look, this is in the book. You know what I mean? How can it be beneficial to know the skin complexion of Abraham? Because y'all claim that Abraham is a black man. But in the Bible, it doesn't give you the description of Abraham. It gives you the description of nothing. That's what a white man could play Abraham and Moses, although we know Moses is an Egyptian, but still though, if you had the skin complexion, then there's no argument about that. So he showed what's the beneficial, knowing that, all right, y'all claim to be Israelites, your forefather was a nigga, and the OSB verifies that. Copper color, nigga, I'm copper color. There's a lot of African tribes that are copper color in skin. It's a lot of African tribes with copper color skin tone, right? All right. So here we have the African, copper color. This the OSB say that we're copper colored. This is copper, right? Look at the skin, that's copper. Red like new copper. See that? And this is in Africa. So when the OSB talks about the Ahuans being copper colored, it's talking about brown skinned people in the land. And it also talks about copper colored people in the indigenous Americas. And you can see that on the glyphs. I just seen a picture where they had a glyph. Some of the negatives. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Right here. And you got more copper colored people right here. These are indigenous Americans, copper colored. Look at that. So what he brought out in the Owaspy was actual facts. That the people, the Ahuans that spawned from the Drooks and the Ahuans were copper colored people. And all of those people were the progenitors of the prophets. Abraham, Moses, all the people who were the prophets in the Owaspy is of the Ahuan lineage. And the Ahuan is a combination between the Drooks and the Ahuans. You know, man? See that? But nonetheless, the God Cosmology showed and proved that the Owaspy is way better for our people. Exactly. Ruddy people, exactly. You know what I mean? But see, you know, Cosmology, I would have cut that nigga. You know, I would have cut that nigga when he brought up them drunks and he tried to bring up the behavior of the drunks. I would have went straight to Narmer, nigga. I would have went straight to African genocide to show the behavior of the drunks within Africa in real time to show, like, look, nigga, I'm showing you the behavior of the drunks in this book in real history. So now you can't bring it. I'll have it to the point where I'm not them niggas. If they was haunting me with that drook stuff, I'm gonna always bring up the behavior of the drooks in the African culture every time, to the point where they're not gonna want to bring it up because they're gonna know you're gonna go there. You bring up drunk to me, I'm going straight to Narmer. Is Narmer behaving like a goddamn holy man, or is Narmer behaving like a drunk that the Owaspy talk about? And I can guarantee you that they would hate to admit that Narmer is acting like a goddamn droop that the Owaspy is talking about. You gotta strategize and pin these niggas down, son. Same with the colonizer. The niggas bring up the colonizer. Those niggas will never bring that colonizer talk up to me again. And if they do, they're gonna be bombarded with African colonization among tribes, African tribes, African colonization long before the Europeans and Arabs. You beat them in the head with that and show them that they God in the Bible is destroying their own chosen people. So that is way worse than a book that y'all don't even believe in, talking about a race of people that y'all don't even believe in. But y'all want to use the negative of the Drook and run with that. You got this thick ass book, thick ass Owaspy, and they want to use one page and try to ridicule and throw over the whole book. No, nigga, that ain't working over here. This be a goddamn. If that's the case, nigga, we're gonna close the Bible on the first page. We're gonna close the Bible on the 7-day creation, because that 7-day creation is a lie, and it was stolen by the Babylonians. So how can the Bible be good for our people when the 7-day creation story is a lie and comes from an older Babylonian tale? How can a lie be good for our people? We already exposed the Owaspy creation story is objective and is beneficial to our people. Let me show you how our creation story is beneficial to our people. When I say our people, I'm speaking of like minds. I'm not even putting niggas in a category, because niggas been killing niggas. And I'm not going to fool myself to sit here and think that just because you blackity black, nigga be brothers. Nigga Cain killed Abel. They was brothers, and they were supposed to be blackity black. Narmer killed the indigenous Africans in upper Egypt, and those are blackity black. So we're not going to play the blackity black game with me. I'm going to surrender you every time. That's one thing with me, boy. I'm very strategic. If your strategy ain't up to par, leave me alone. That's right. Let me see where my little notes at. You know what I mean? Let me see something here. Let me find the creation story real quick. They want to know what book is better for our people, but we can't skip Genesis and go to Exodus. We can't skip Genesis and talk about the Israelites. We got to start at the beginning. Is the 7-day creation story good for our people or not? Because according to the Bible, your God made the heavens and the earth in 6 days. or 6,000 years. It's not 6,000 years. Time of creation. Now, look, is this good for our people? That according to Yale University, the start of creation is 3761 BC. That's a lie. 3761 BC, nigga, the Nakada period and the Ubaid period was taking place in Sumer in Egypt. So how can creation be started in 3761 BC? How can that be beneficial to black people when black people was already farming during them time periods? Huh? Now look, so if God created the heavens and the earth in 6 literal days, it would have been in the year 3761 BC. And the reign of Adam and his descendants would have been from the year 3761 BC. So your whole narrative of creation is based off a false narrative. It's based off a lie. So 3761 BC is when the world was created, the heavens and the earth was created, when Adam and Eve was created, all in 1 year. No matter of fact, all in 6-7 days. This is the year 3761 BC, first week of creation, spring month. First day of creation would have been 24 hours. That would have been the creation of light and darkness. The second day, the creation of the firmament, would have been 24 hours. Day 2, 48 hours. On the third day, the creation of dry land, grass, herbs, fruit trees. That would have been the third day, 72 hours from the first day. The fourth day, the creation of the sun, moon, and stars. Now look at that. You got 24 hours that... You got grass, trees, and herbs growing in 24 hours before the sun was created. So, and then the fifth day, animals was created. The whole narrative of this creation story is false. If you believe in a 6th day, he created in 6 days, that means he took 144 hours to create everything you see in the creation. Nigga, that don't make no sense. How can that be beneficial to our people? Well, it's a damn lie. And here's the proof that we're talking about a day. When it says an evening and morning were the first day, see that day, that word day, age 3117 right here that you see right here is young. And what does it say? It says daily. Daily. It says day, time, year. Look, day, 24-hour period. So we're not making this up. But they want to give you wishful thinking and say, oh, no, God didn't mean that a year. A day could have been 1,000 years or a day could have been a millennium. And they start interjecting, giving you their private interpretation of what they think is what's being said. And what's being said is plain as day. There is no symbolic code behind this. There is no revelation, apocalyptic beasts in the 4 heads and all this. It's plain as day. A day, 24 hours. Now, if a day was 1,000 years, the Hebrew word alif, which means 1,000, would have been used instead of yom, which means a day. So here is the Hebrew word alif. And what does it say? 1,000. So it wouldn't make way more sense to the biblical scribes to remove day and place in 1,000 to try to make it make a little bit more sense than what it's making now. So your creation story don't even make sense. So how can this be beneficial for our people when your story don't even make sense? Now, to further show it don't make no sense, now keep in mind, they said that the creation started in 3761 BC. That's when heaven and earth was created. Here's the creation right here, 3761 BC, when Adam was created. Now here is Narmer right here, 3150 BC, right? A couple hundred years, 700 years later, Narmer is on the scene. How is Narmer on the scene? If Adam lived to be 930 years, so Adam would have lived from 3761 BC to goddamn 2831 BC. Adam would have been living that time. So how can Narmer be running around conquering Egypt if Adam is still alive? Because Narmer would have came from the children of Ham. So how can Narmer, a Hamite, be running around when Ham ain't even born yet? How can this be beneficial for our people when it makes no goddamn sense? So if God created the heavens and the earth in 6 literal days, Adam to Noah would be from 3761 BC to 1845 BC. Now, if you notice, Shem, Ham, and Japheth are born in the year 2295 BC. So how can Narmer be the descendant of Ham but existed 885 years before the birth of Ham? Showing you that the biblical timeline is totally off, right? Easy work. That's stupid. None of this makes sense. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's a damn lie, because God is a deity. He ain't make a goddamn thing. Now, keep in mind, God is El. This is God. This is your biblical God right here, El. They deified God. They said God sits on a throne. So how can God say, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth? How can he say that sitting on a throne? So what would he be, floating in space? Floating in space on the throne? That don't even make sense. But this is supposed to be better for our people, yo. Let me find. Our creation story makes way more sense than that. Our creation story makes way more sense than that. See now, they want you to believe that God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. This nonsense. 6 days or 6,000 years. And we already proved that in the Bible it says a day, not 1,000. Right? So we can't assume, we can't add our private interpretation, we can't lean on our own understanding. We got to take it for what it says. And for what it says, it's a day. Now, our creation story has no resemblance of the biblical creation story. Actually, the OASP exposes the 7-day creation story as being false and a work by a fallen angel by Anuhasaj. We know that. What is cosmology? The definition, the branch of science that deals with the origin of the universe, especially the solar system. So we go back to the creation story, we're talking about cosmology, the origin of the solar system, the origin of the universe. What is the universe? The universe is all of space and time and their component and their contents. The Latin word universus meaning combined into one. Huh? What does una mean? Una means one or single. So the universe is one single endless vault that you cannot put a beginning on and you cannot put an ending on. Who is Jehovah? Look with Jehovah. Now y'all keep saying, oh, y'all got Jehovah from our book. Y'all stole Jehovah because of the name. Now here's the catch. What you fail to realize is that the Jehovah in the Bible became compromised by a false god. A false god assumed the name Jehovah. Now that creator that once was is now a deified figure. OASP exposes that. Matter of fact, let's get it. Let's get the fact that it exposes that Israel is worshiping a deified figure, but once at one time acknowledged a creator, but they haven't acknowledged a creator since then. Where is the book of? Where is that? The basis of the Ezra Bible, right here. Now watch this. This is giving credence that you once worship the creator. But you worship a deity, because all y'all acknowledge that y'all worship a deity. All y'all acknowledge that the Lord is a man of war. All y'all acknowledge that God created man in his image. So you can't deny the fact that your God is a deity because it's in the book. Now here's when Israel started worshiping deities. Prior to them worshiping the creator. And guess who was behind it? We're going to show you. This is beneficial for our people because in this, you see how Israel fell from worshiping the true Jehovah to worshiping the deity idol Jehovah. So now, in the OASP Bible, basis of the Ezra Bible, it states Verse 22, Ashtaroth, whose dominion extended jointly with Baal over western and southern Arabia, sent spirit emissaries to the handsome of the women of Canaan, and by impression led them into the camps of the Israelites to tempt the young men. For the heathen gods decided to use these means to destroy the worship of the Great Spirit. You hear that? You hear that? This is beneficial to know. For the heathen gods, because what you fail to realize, Israel, you're worshiping one of the heathen gods. For the heathen gods decided to use these means to destroy the worship of the great unseen, meaning Jehovah. Huh? And look what it states next. They used the female. A woman is always a nigga's downfall. And many of the Israelitish young men were tempted by the beauty of the heathen women, just like today, and thus took them for wives. And these wives brought with them their own familiar spirits, who were slaves to Baal and Ashtaroth, the same way Solomon fell and accepted the false gods, is the same way Israel fell during this time, right? Let's scroll down to verse 26. But in the 390th year, the Elohim, Baal, the Baalims, because it says the gods, Baal and Ashtaroth, triumphant through their familiar spirits, and caused the Israelites to anoint a king to rule over them. This king was called Saul, signifying of the Lord God, Adonai El, Yahuwah Elohim. Prior, now this is the key point. Now listen to this. This is beneficial to know right here, because you didn't notice, Israel. Prior to this, the Israelites acknowledged no God. Stop right there. Stop right there. Prior to this, the Israelites acknowledged no God. What do you have in the Bible in Genesis? Huh? What do you have? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. This is the very first chapter 1, verse 1 in your Torah. So if the Owaspi is saying that prior to this, the Israelites acknowledged no God, now when you read Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, you're acknowledging God creating. When did the change happen? Because according to the Bible, you're worshiping a God. According to the Owaspi, it says prior to this. Where we at? 22. Where we at? Right here. Prior to this, the Israelites acknowledge no God, no Lord, but covenant with the Great Spirit, Jehovah. This is what y'all don't know. The God you worshiping, the Lord you worshiping is not the creator. It's a deity, assuming to be the creator. That's beneficial to know. You know why it's beneficial to know? Because you could be deceived by a fallen angel, assuming to be the creator, who got you hook, line, and sinker, because in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He got you right there. Satan got you with the very first book, the very first verse of the Bible. You ain't got to go to Revelation to find Satan. Satan is found in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Satan is God because he's deceiving you to believe that he created the heavens and the earth in 6 literal days. That's deception. That's the opposition of creation, the opposition of natural order, to say that heaven and earth was created in 6 days, or even if you want to go with 6,000 years. But I'm not going to let you go with 6,000 years, because in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth in one goddamn day. Let's get the Strong's Concordance. See, a lot of people want to run to Paul and want to run to David when they're talking about a day is 1,000 years. But why would I run to them when it's right, when God is talking for himself in the beginning? I don't need David to speak for me. I don't need Peter to speak for me. There go God speaking for himself in the beginning. And nowhere did he say, first off, nowhere did he say in the beginning was Jesus with him. Nowhere did he say in the beginning was the angels with him. There is no angels from chapter 1. Look at this. Where do you see angels at? Huh? Where do you see Jesus at? God said, let us make man. That us is not Jesus. There is no name saying the let us was Jesus or Melchizedek or these angels, Raphael, Michael. It don't say that. God said, let us make man. in our image. We already exposed that. We already exposed image. Watch this. Let's go to the Strong's Concordance and see what image is. Strong's Concordance. Let's see what it's associated with. God said, let's create us a what? Man in our image. So God got an image first and foremost. Salim. That's what image is in Hebrew. But look what it states. Look. Images. Mice. Heathen gods. It got heathen gods in the Strong's Concordance, while in the Owaspy, it states that what? Let me go back up. Let me go back up. What does it say right here? Huh? For the heathen gods decided to use these means to destroy the worship of the Great Spirit. And you have the very word heathen gods in the Strong's Concordance, in the definition of image, in our image. God said, let us make man in our image. When you click on image, it's associated with heathen gods. While the Owaspy is showing you, for the heathen gods decided to use this means to destroy the worshipers of the Great Spirit. Look at the benefit of knowing this. Look at the benefit of knowing this. But you can't let it go because this is Bible. You've been bound to Bible. Your grandmother, your mother, grandfather, grandpa been bound to Bible. You grew up in the church, bound to Bible. Slavery gave you bound to Bible. You think you're the book of the people, bound to Bible. So what I'm showing you is that you're worshiping a false god because the image is associated with heathen gods. And not only that, and the crazy thing is I ain't even come for that. I ain't even come to show you that. I came to show you this part right here. What does it state? A phantom, figuratively, illusion, resemblance, hence a representative figure, especially a what? An idol. An image is an idol. So if an image is an idol, and God said, let us make man in our image, that would make God an idol. You niggas is cut with your own sword. You get cut with your own sword. You fell on your own sword with this one. You worshiping the idol. What the Owaspy say? Let's scroll down. This is easy work. Watch this. Look what it say here. You know I'm surgical with this shit. Look what it states. Look at this verse. In that way, Lord God, land God, was substituted for Jehovah, secretly called Jehovah. And as prior to this, the Great Spirit had been taught to the Israelites as an inconceivable entity. Stop there. That's beneficial to know. It says, as prior to this, the Israelites have been taught that the Great Spirit was an inconceivable entity. How many Israelites today will tell you that their God, their Lord God, is an inconceivable entity? You cannot be an inconceivable entity and have an image. That means you're restricted. You're confined. You have locality. So the Owaspy, this is why it's beneficial, because the Owaspy is letting you know that at one point the Israelites did acknowledge a creator and then became compromised by the women of Canaan through Baal and Ashtaroth, the heathen gods, the idolers, the adulterers. Until this day, you Israelites are still worshiping an idol now because your God is in the image of man, as stated in Genesis, goddamn 1:26, right here. Images, especially an idol. And coming back to the O, it says, this is a cut right here. Look, all right, so let me start from as prior. As prior to this, the Great Spirit had been taught to the Israelites as an inconceivable entity whose form and extent no man could attain to know. So was he now. This is good to know because now it's a change. Here's where the change happened. So first it was as prior. Now it's so was he now. See that? I'm giving you the short words, the words you overlook. You read, but you overlook the small things. This is the small things. So was he now. So they're letting you know there's a change that took place among the worship of the Israelites. It states, as prior to this, the Great Spirit had been taught to the Israelites as an inconceivable spirit, whose form and extent no man could attain to know. But look what it states. So was he now transformed, and declared to be in the form of a man. And that's what you have in Genesis right here. God in the image of man. God created man in his God created man. God said, let us make man in our image. So that is God admitting that God is in the image of man. Coming back now. So was he now transformed and declared to be in the form of a man and having a residence in the firmament of heaven. They already admit that God, he has a residence. Look, this is God right here. Let me come back to El. That's the biblical God right there. That's El, Father of the gods. He has a residence in the firmament. That's what he floating in space. Huh? Having a resident in the firmament. So look what it states next. This is the death blow. Thus they made the great spirit merely an idol. Huh? And that's exactly what you see in Genesis chapter 126. When you click on images and you scroll down and it says associated with what? What? Especially an idol. Look at that. Nigga, you cut. You cut. Thus they made the great spirit, the creator, merely an idol. Let us make man in our image. Image is Salim in Hebrew, which means especially an idol. What is an idol? What is an idol? An image or a representation of a what? God used as an object of worship. Didn't the Bible say you should worship no idols? Exodus 20:4 and 5. Let's get that in the blue. You know I'm surgical with this joint. Exodus chapter 20. Now look, this is the commandments. How can this be beneficial to you to say that you follow a God that is in the very image he told you not to worship? Oh, but he get a pass though. He's God. He can do anything. Get out of here. Now look. Look what it states. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. Huh? Let's hit the concordance. Let's see if that image is still the same image as in Genesis. Oh, we got to. All right, so in Genesis, we got this definition. Is this the same definition? Let's see. Nope. Look, we got two definitions of image. So the image in Genesis is an idol. We already established that. The image in Exodus is pasel. Let's see what it's referred to. And look what it say. Idol. Boom. And associated with image. So your God is telling you not to worship a graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven. Huh? That is in heaven. Where does God reside? Where does this guy reside? Where does God reside? Let's see. Let's see where God resides. Let's see where God dwells. Let's see if we can pull up some verses. Hold up. Let me find a better catalog. Boom. Let's see where we see it. Does God reside in the heavens? Let's see. See a lot of New Testament. Boom. Hebrews 12:12. But you have come to Mount Zion and to the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. Let's stop there. The city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. So we know that God dwells in heaven based off Hebrews 12:22. But according to Exodus chapter 20, verse 4, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images of any likeness of anything that is in heaven. So God himself get cut. You know what I mean? We ain't worrying about the scribes. We ain't worrying about your Israelites. Nigga, we cutting God. We cutting God's word, his own words. The works and the words of the scribes. God said you should worship no idols in heaven. But God himself is an idol in heaven. So are we to, what's going on? But keep in mind, in the Owaspi, Jehovah is not a God in the image of man. Who is Jehovah in the Owaspi? Book of the Arkaban. Who is Jehovah? The ever-present. He fills all place and all space. So what are we talking about here? The Jehovah in the Owaspi is not this guy. He ain't El Elyon. He ain't Yahweh. He ever-present. What does ever-present mean? Something that is always there. This nigga ain't always been there. He had to be formed and created. He has a beginning. Anything that has a creation, anything that has form and figure has a beginning for it being created. The only thing that doesn't have beginning is what you call ever-present. Something that has always been. What is something that has always been? Let's go back up to the definition of the universe. The universe is all space and time and their contents. All space and time. The exact definition that you have of a Jehovah. He fills all place and space. He is not confined in a human body like your God. This is beneficial to know because you are trapping your soul and your mind to believe that this little guy right here is the creator, which is deception from Satan. Satan is a deceiver and a liar from the beginning. He deceived your fathers. And he's deceiving you now to believe that this little guy is the maker and owner of creation. You don't lost your goddamn mind. While the Owaspi is freeing you from that, freeing you from the mind of looking mentally for an island image in your head as the maker. This is an example of your creator. Creation itself. This is what you could classify as all space and all time. You cannot put a beginning and end into this. This is what you call ever-present. When you look up into the night sky, that night sky has always been. You can't say then, oh, well, no, the beginnings. No, you can't put a pinpoint on when the beginning occurred. This is creation right here. This is creator. And we're inside the body of creation. See that? This is very different from this guy. This guy's supposed to be floating around this, creating. This little guy is localized. Creator is not localized. Creator is ever present, always been, and this is the example of that. This is beneficial to know because now our scope of creator is not confined to a deity, confined to a goddamn man sitting on a chair. So we have a better understanding about creation than them goddamn Bible. Bomber-ass clot. But nonetheless, yeah, I've been saying, but this is what I'll be showing. The word will carry. I'll paint the picture with the words, but nonetheless, look at that. Let's go back around. Let me backtrack a little bit. Thus they made the Great Spirit merely an idol. Now let's go back to them heathen gods. Let me show y'all that. Since the screen wasn't showing, let me go back and show you where it says it in the book. Shows you a nigga diabolical with this joint. For the heathen, right here, for the heathen gods decided to use these means to destroy the worshipers of the Great Spirit. Now, what y'all didn't see was that when you look up, and God said, let us make man in our image, when you click on image, look right here, Celine, and it's associated with what? Right here, heathen gods. The very image that is defined in Genesis 1:26 is associated with heathen gods, the exact same way the Owaspi exposes. For the heathen gods decided to use these means to destroy the worshipers of the Great Spirit. So you got heathen gods associated with your God, associated with an image. And then we showed that image right here, a representative figure, especially an idol. So you're worshiping an idol. The very definition of image is admitting that you're worshiping a heathen god and an idol. And then we come back to the O, we scroll down, and we see that the Israelites were definitely worshiping an idol because it's backed right here. Right here. And look what it states. Thus they made the Great Spirit merely an idol. Thus they made the Great Spirit merely an idol. And what does it say in your Strong's Concordance? A representative figure, especially an idol. So your very Bible is exposing itself. If you know what you're looking at, you niggas have been reading this book all this time and don't even know that your God is an image, it's a deity, a man sitting on a throne in space claiming to be the creator, not knowing that's a false God. Satan got you hooked, line, and sinker from the jump. Look at that. In the beginning, God created. That's a false God. Owaspi states, thus they made the Great Spirit merely an idol, and so they began the overthrow of the holy doctrine of Moses. You niggas is part of the overthrowing of the holy doctrine of Moses, because if you follow the true Moses, he declared that the creator was what? An inconceivable spirit. Whose what? Whose form and extent no man can attain to know. But look what it states. So now he is transformed in an image of a man and has a residence in the firmament of heaven, floating around space looking like this. And then it says what? Thus they made the Great Spirit merely an idol, and we have proof that they made him an idol because it's in your definition of image. And a representation and figure of an idol coming back up is associated with heathen gods. So when you go back to Genesis 1:26, and God said, let us make man in our image. Idol. What is idol? The definition, an image or representation of a god used as an object of worship. You niggas worship God. This is your God. You niggas gonna fall on your face worshiping this deity, not knowing you worshiping a false God. This is beneficial to know because our people has been enslaved by these false gods for over 6,000 years. That's why it's hard for these niggas to break free from the Bible, because they bound to the God. It's called the God spell. God got a spell on these niggas. These false gods got spells on you niggas. Here we are trying to free you when you accusing us because of Owaspi and John Newbro. This is worse than John Newbro. To believe in a false God is worse than the Owaspi and John Newbro and the dentist and the mason and all that stupid talk y'all talk. You don't even know your spirit is subjugated to this false God. And when you cross over in the next world, you're going to be subjugated to a false God, thinking it's the Most High. Subservient slave you will become. A subservient slave you will become to this false God. Here's an example of you becoming a subservient slave. Book of Thor 1:14 again. You subservient slaves. That's how your God will be talking to you. You subservient slaves. Ha 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 ha. You finally make it. That's how your false God will be talking to you. Look. The spirits of the newly dead are captured and kept in ignorance of Jehovah and his vast creation, and made to bow down in adoration and worship to false lords and false gods. That's what you guys are doing. You're worshiping false lords and false gods. And these in return, being contiguous immortals, inspire them to the same worship. So you have ancestors, angels, spirits that are inspiring you to worship these false gods because they worshiped them when they was alive. So we know what's driving you spiritually. Because we know the unseen force that's pushing you to believe what you believe. It's other ancestors inspiring you to continue the faith of these false gods. And look what it states. This is the death blow for you niggas, which fits them at the time of their death to fall as slaves into the dominion of him whom they worshipped. Huh? You worshiping this God, that's your God, El Elohim, Yahuwah, in the image of man, the Lord God. That's who you going to see when you niggas croak. Huh? That's who you going to see when you cross over. The false God. Look at that. This is beneficial to know because the Owaspy is letting you know that you're going to become a slave to these false gods, these gods in the image of man who you claim to be as your creator. Foolishness. 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 Yo, Cosmo, hop on, man, if you ain't doing nothing. Let me drop the link, man. I'm just freestyling, vibing out. You know what I mean? Just imagine if this was a debate and put us in debate format, son. You know what I mean? Cosmo was giving you some of the benefits, you know what I'm saying? Showing you what it was. And like he said, the boy ain't really going in his book. The boy ain't even going in his book. Cosmo started raising him questions about his God. Had him stuck. That's right, Keon. Remember when Thutmose spirit became a slave in the false Osiris heavily after being... Exactly. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Quick fast. Yeah, Thutmose, the pyramid builder, become a subservient slave. Osiris played him, hook, line, and sinker. These false gods are deceptive, man. If you niggas don't wake up now, you're going to wake up thousands of years later, hundreds of years later, like, damn, son, I remember on earth, these niggas are talking this shit. And here I am 1,000 years in heaven, and I'm now waking up to what they were talking about. Let me grab my drink. Hold tight, family. That's right. That's why I laugh at them when they try to clown us for smoking bud. I'm like, nigga, you following a false, you're gonna be a slave to a false god when you die. Nigga, what is you talking about? You worrying about the marijuana, you need to be worrying about that God you follow. Don't worry about the bud. This bud comes from my creator. My creator created this for medicinal purposes. But your God, he got you cutting off goat heads, nigga. You need to reconsider who you're following. Now let's go to Thutmose, the pyramid builder. Let's go to the part where Keon said that his spirit got confiscated. Now look at the props. Look at this. Thutmose spent 24 years building the temple, and then it was complete. But it required another half a year to take away the inclined plane used in building it. After that, it stood free and clear, the greatest building that had ever been built on earth or ever would be. This is the Owaspy giving credit to the African for building one of the greatest monuments on earth that shall ever be. So they skip over these things because they haven't read the Owaspy. They're reading man in his primitive state. By the time you get to these time of this Homo sapiens sapiens, you will see that the Africans is running the show in this book. They don't know that. And then it states what? Such then was Thutmose temple of Osiris, the great pyramid. The pyramid was built for Osiris. Yes. That's why you got the Osiris text, like the spells to Osiris and becoming one with Osiris. Yeah, they try to say Osiris wasn't a deity, but when you read them spells, it says a little different. So let's go to where Osiris spirit, a Thutmose spirit get captured. Let me see where that's at. Look at this. Let's start from here. Hawaka said to the gods, "Where is the body of Fatma? Has it been transformed?" And the gods answered, "It has gone to heaven and will return after many days. But as to the spirit of the king, behold, he is with you." And the priest spoke to Exine, believing it was Fatma. And after 3 days, they came out of the temple pretending, pretending Exine was Thutma, to recrown him as Thutma II. And they proclaimed it abroad that these things were true, although they knew they were not. These niggas is liars. See, the Israelites don't get a pass. Same way the Egyptians don't get a pass. You niggas over here lying. Owaspi is exposing everything. Look what it states. As to the spirit of Thutma, at the time of death, his spirit was taken to Ago Adin and put among the servants, which is slaves, of Osiris' heavenly kingdom. And look, and thus enslaved. This is where you niggas is headed, man. You want to worship these false gods? And what it states right here, thus enslaved. Yo, he did all that work for Osiris. Built him the pyramids, did everything he asked for. And at the time of his death, he was taken to the heavenly kingdom of Osiris and thus enslaved with the rest of the slaves. He just blended in like he just another number. All that work he did, he just another number. Now, regarding the false gods, Osiris and his confederates, they never tried to reincarnate the spirit of Thutma. But because of the virtue and the wisdom of Thutma, they used him for the benefit of Osiris' heavenly kingdom. Look at that. And to establish Osiris everlastingly on earth as the all-highest God. What we talk about here. The Owaspi is exposing that one of their own got played and used and duped by one of their ancestors, to put it plain. Whether if you believe this or not, it's not about the belief. It's about the deception being played out. That's what it's about. The deception being played is what we're dealing with here. That's where y'all lose sight, because y'all trying to find, this Osiris and Thutma. You ain't looking at what's going on in the narrative of the story. You ain't looking at the morality being played out, the deception and the strategic strategies of these false gods using us as pawns. That's what you're not paying attention to. That's why you will never win against reality, Sila Shalom, because I know the intricate details. I know how deceptive these false gods are, and we can expose them. You locked in with these false gods. You think goddamn God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days? You think God said, let us make man in our image after the image of boom, bat, boom, and not knowing that your God is an idol. An idol is an object of worship, and this is the object of worship you niggas been worshiping for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 years. Ever since these false gods overthrown the kingdom. Yeah, man. Come on, yo. Pine Oil Heaven. Let me see if I got Pine Oil Heaven in my Let me see if I got Pine Oil Heaven up in here. It's been a minute. You know, Pine Oil Heaven is usually for us. Well, let's still win them. Let me see if I got Pine Oil Heaven for him, because that's exactly where you're going, cuz. The Pine Oil Heaven. Yep, sure enough, I do got it in here. Ha! This is where they headed, y'all. All you niggas is headed to Pine.
Chestnuts roasting on fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To Pine Oil Heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To Pine Oil Heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. To Pine Oil Heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy. to pine oil heaven.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
That's where you headed, boy, to pine oil heaven.
And that's exactly where you niggas is headed if you don't get it together. Keep following these false gods. Keep thinking that what we talking about is play and it's joke. Oh, the Osby, the white man, John Brown knew, bro. You know how many white men had their hand on Bible? You know what I mean? You should have hit him with that, cause nigga, I don't know if you did hit him with it. And a black man had their hand on Bible. How can the Bible be beneficial to us when ain't damn nigga had their hand on it? Now let's go to let me see some skipping around. European authorship of the Bible. False gods nipping at your nose. Yeah, so how are they going to say the Bible blackity black? How are they going to say the Bible is beneficial for our people when you got nobody black in the book? I mean, nobody black authorizing the book. So basically, you got white authors, black stories. So you have Ezra. You don't have Moses. We don't know how Moses looked. According to them, they go Ezra. Ezra is the one who was responsible for writing your Tanakh. He don't look like a nigga from the projects. He don't like no Bantu Negro. He look like an Arab. He like a straight Arab. The next nigga who has some influence, look at him. You got Antigonius, I forgot how you pronounce that. Antagonius. He was supposed to be the one that's the origin of the Sadducees and the Bothemices and all this nonsense coming off the captivity, 5th century BCE. Then you got Ptolemy. He translated the Old Testament or the into Greek. White boy. We don't see no black men, no black faces had anything to do with this. You hear about them. And the Arter story, that's a false story. We know that. That's a false. The letter, that's not even accurate. You know what I mean? So you don't have no Africans that had anything to do with compiling, selecting the Bible. So how can the Bible be better for our people if you can't prove an African wrote it? Huh? They go Marcion, he ain't no nigga. As a matter of fact, he was a follower of Paul, the op. Paul was a goddamn op, a nigga who never met Yahshua. They describe Paul as looking like a pale-skinned Edomite, right? And then not only that, Marcion rejected the Old Testament. See that? It says Marcion preached that God has sent Jesus Christ, who was distinct from the vengeful God, demiurge, who had created the world. So if you follow Marcion, nigga, you can't go with the Old Testament. He said the Old Testament God is a vengeful God, a demiurge. And then you got the Jerusalem Talmud. You niggas ain't got nothing to do with this. Y'all ain't produced that. Niggas ain't produced the Jerusalem Talmud. Huh? The Babylonian Talmud. Y'all ain't got nothing to do with that. They got the white boy who did it, Rabbi Ashar. And they got his depiction right here. Right here's the depiction of the guy. He don't look like no Bantu Negro. This is a nigga put siglums in your text. You wouldn't have these commas, these siglums right here, siglums. He did that. You ain't no nigga did that. He did that. You wouldn't even be able to read your Bible properly without sentence structure if it wasn't for these white boys. What are you talking about? All these Europeans had a hand and book. Look, Joseph Armitage Robinson. Robinson suggested that this system of chapter divisions was introduced in the Vulgate by Jerome. See that? Jerome. He ain't no nigga. But he's the one who created the system of chapters. So you wouldn't even be able to say, go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, if it wasn't for Jerome. So how can this be beneficial and the nigga ain't got nothing to do with this? Your whole reading structure is fashioned around the European mindset if you want to be blackity black. Right? Now you got Origin of Alexandria. Look at that. If it wasn't for him, you niggas wouldn't have no select. Because remember, the Bible means scrolls. The Bible means a collection of books. It just wasn't one big book. It's a collection of books compiled together. But Origin is responsible for what? He's an avid collector of Christian books, helped create the Library of Caesarea containing more than 30,000 manuscripts. You got to give it up to Origin. If it wasn't for Origin, you wouldn't even have half of the scripts you have in your Bible. He's responsible for that. The cloud kicker Cosmon Killy in the Billy. What's the word, son?
Man, what's the word? Jelly bird. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, I can't call it, man. I can't call it. Just up in here.
Man, you was right, man. And if I'd have had enough time to rebuttal everything about that colored drug stuff, you dig what I'm talking about? I would have took it further. But once I showed him that, you know, a drug is anybody of any color, and it's the lifestyle, and that the people he claiming is modern white people, Waspi say ain't modern white people, right. And that there is no physical difference between an iron and a drug. So if the people you saying is cursed, like your Bible say, the only reason he's trying to say these people is cursed and black is because his God says all black people are cursed.
Right.
That's the narrative in his book. So when I showed you that both people were of all colors, you dig what I'm talking about, and that they look exactly the same, and the only way to tell them apart is by circumcision.
Right.
One is a warrior and one is peaceful. One circumcised.
But see, that's the thing. This way you would have killed the nigga at right there, because these niggas want to play the drunk game. When that nigga brought up that drunk shit, you should have went ahead and showed that picture of Narmer and revert back to that nigga and said, ask me this. The description you just read of the drunk, that you say that Owaspi shames the black man. This picture of Narmer, are you telling me that this is not an example of drunk behavior coming from the very first? That would have threw that nigga whole game off. He would have been stuck because you would have had to explain away now Narmer behaving like a goddamn drunk.
and then, no, but I did him even worse. Because I showed by his behavior that he is a drunk.
Right. I see where you brought that up. Facts.
You dig what I'm saying? It's not it's not you just so happen to be a nigga. But then I compared him to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is also a drunk, but he ain't a nigga.
Right.
You dig what I'm talking about? So it has nothing to do with racial classification, ethnicity, culture, or heritage. It's about your lifestyle.
Right. But even if they want to play the color game and want to try to put it on the niggas, then show nigga behavior. Because it's like shit. Yeah, that shit is fucked up what to say about the jokes, but is it far reaching from the truth about how niggas behave? Do we need to go
But hold on, we gotta always, and this is why the Hebrews always beat up the Commissions, because they always take things out of context. And let's put the Lord's fifth book in context. It is talking about the false god Aramaeus, who is
that's an Indian narrative.
That's an East Indian false god, evil false god.
And the East Indians was the ones who came up with the caste system,
the race caste system.
You know what I mean?
So when I brought that up too. That you did what I'm saying. He's trying to say that Jehovah says that, but in the book it actually says a false god is making the very first caste system, and he's not talking about skin color.
Right, exactly. Talking about social status.
Right. And these are East Indians. What do those got to do with Africans, American Indians, Europeans, where your book come from? Right. And then they always try to talk about JBN, right? But at least we know who wrote Owaspi. We don't know a lick of nobody who wrote a word.
Yeah, ain't no nigga wrote Bible. See, that's what you're gonna fuck them up at too. Hold them accountable to that, because how can the Bible be beneficial to our people? And if a nigga ain't had a hand on it, put it right back.
It ain't even that. It's worse than that. They don't know if they niggas, blacks, or even one person wrote the Bible, or like they said, a myriad of unknown authors. Because Mark didn't write Mark.
Yo, exactly. Ain't none of them,
Luke didn't write Luke.
As far as shit, ain't nobody wrote nothing in the goddamn book when you really think about it.
Right. This is what I'm saying. So if we talking about provenance and authenticity, we can show where our text came from, and it came from one source, and we can show the line of connection from the time it was brought about to the time it was published, that nothing was changed.
But see, this is the thing they niggas always do. When they had these debates, they never go into the book. They want to deal outside objectively with the author, with some goddamn group of motherfuckers who done took the Bible, or he's naming all these subgroups. I'm like, yo, my nigga, we go through motherfucking numerous goddamn societies of who held the Christian Bible and did all type of foul shit. Nigga, we can start from 2,000 years ago and come on down if you want to play that game.
And then how about the fact that you can only tell a thing by its character, nature, and deed. And the people who are claiming to be the Israelites or Jews of the Bible, right, do exactly the opposite of what real Israelites do.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Real Israelites never warred. They never went to war. Well, then who is them niggas that's fighting alongside Saul, David, and Solomon, fighting the Assyrians, the Persians, the Medes, and the Babylonians, the Greeks and Romans?
Right, facts.
Who is doing all that warring, right? If real Israelites never warred.
Exactly. Who them niggas?
You're Jews.
Y'all niggas is the strangers.
I'm not debating that. I'm backing Owaspy. Owaspy said, from the time that you niggas started praising a false god, a lord and a god, the people were separated and they became two distinct people groups.
Exactly.
How do you tell them apart? One did evil, one did good.
Right.
They weren't in the same places. Huh?
You don't have the story of the real faith, this and shit.
Right, and they weren't in the same time. Huh? Per your biblical story, compared to real history. Huh?
Right.
Your Moses wasn't even in the same time as the real Moses. So how is it beneficial?
They don't even know who
trying to tell
Moses
us
is.
we kin to some people, but you can't tell us when he was born. You couldn't tell us who he was.
They gotta identify the nigga first.
Yeah, you can't tell me who he was in Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have locked that nigga in right
who
there.
His daddy was.
You should have kept that nigga right there.
Adopted mama was.
Yeah, you should have kept that nigga right there. Like nigga, fuck that. How can the Bible be beneficial if you don't know who the author is?
I told him, how can it be beneficial if you can't tell time? You complaining about the white man, but you stuck in his Gregorian calendar.
Right.
You can't think outside of it. Neither can any Hebrew, because every Hebrew is within the Gregorian calendar.
And none of them niggas stay in the cycles to really even get a feel of how that shit run. You know what I mean? Or get an idea, like, you know what I mean? Y'all niggas not even acknowledging your own creator who created this. Like, look, like my Harakah goofy ass. He talking about the lunar Sabbath, this lunatic and all this nonsense. So I'm like, hold up, you're gonna negate the moon cycles and follow a Saturday Sabbath? Make that shit make sense.
Well, his God said he created the moon to give dates, seasons, and holy days, and months and weeks. His God said that. We ain't say that. Right? So why your God ain't show you how to use the moon and sun to tell time? Exactly. Why is that only in Owaspy?
Right.
If true God teaches you how to do that, why your God ain't teaching?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, you whoop that boy though, man. You know what I mean?
Niggas I had to put hands and feet on that boy.
Niggas never stick to the script. Niggas, like you said, the nigga ain't come out of his book. He didn't even come out of his book. He's spending more time than the Owaspy. Then he's supposed to be proving which book is better. He didn't prove the Bible. He too busy worrying about some goddamn off-brand niggas, some off-brand groups.
Yeah,
that we don't give a fuck about. You know what I mean?
Man, and not to be, not to be crass or anything, but fuck JBN too. I mean, that's the homie. You did what I'm talking about, and he did what he did, and you did what I'm talking about. And thank you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But dog dead, man.
Yeah. See, we ain't kissing ass. See, that's the problem. Yeah. Y'all niggas is ass kissers. Y'all ain't kissing ass to your goddamn teachers, your Nathaniels, your General, your Highness, your goddamn Yeshuas. Nigga, we ain't kissing ass to none of these niggas. Except the creator, nigga. That's it.
Shout out to Abraham. Shout out to Moses. Shout out Yeshua. That's big bro. But that's my brother.
Exactly. What he could do, I could do.
I don't praise that nigga. You dig what I'm talking about? That's the homie.
What he could do, I could do better.
Jesus told you that. We ain't making it up. Exactly. Jesus said, anything I can do, you can do better.
Exactly. So why niggas ain't doing better? My niggas ain't walking on water right now, yo.
Because they're not even living up to the highest ideologies of their own indoctrination.
Exactly.
And then we got to ask, well, once you do, then what? What's the next step? Owaspy is that information.
Yeah. Y'all niggas can't beat around the bush on this one. Y'all got to study this one to know it. This ain't no easy read right here.
Nope, 1,500 pages. Get in it. Dig
You
in.
think y'all niggas gonna
talk
talk
everything.
Shit? Right.
You break everything, even down to washing your stank hind parts every day and brushing your teeth.
Exactly.
And what you supposed to be doing when you're doing that.
Exactly. Big facts.
Do you know? For instance, I gotta go back. I gotta go back, and I'm gonna bring out this whole benefits and do it as a lesson though.
Okay.
Because there's so many benefits that I didn't even get to show.
Right.
There was over 100.
The nigga only gave y'all 15 minutes though, so that shit was mad short.
Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? And what I was gonna say, one of the benefits of I kind of lost where I was going with that.
When I was a little girl.
You said you gonna do a whole presentation on benefits.
Yeah, I know, but because we was talking about something, you was just saying.
I don't think psychedelics are the answer to the world's problems, but they could.
So basically, I had brought the same point up and I didn't get to show it. You dig what I'm talking about? I had to go past it in there, but I'm gonna go back and just show the benefits. You dig what I'm talking about? Show even more because the brother didn't even go in his text and give us any benefits of Bible at all. Right? And one of the benefits that we find in Owaspy is that it tells you not to cherry pick it.
Right.
Don't cherry pick. Start at the beginning and read it to the end. If there's words in there you don't understand, go to the glossary or get a dictionary. You dig what I'm talking about? And then pick up right where you left off and keep reading. And then read the heavenly version on top. And then read the correlating verse that goes right along, chapter that goes right along with it.
Because I had somebody who called me up and I was like, yo, man, I'm reading the Owaspy, but I'm reading it and it's like I'm lost. Because she was reading from the top of the page all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
Instead of reading from midway and then stopping at the next page going, you know what I mean? I was like, yo, when I first read the book, but I first seen it, I'm like, yo, this is ill. I ain't never seen a book that got like an upper and a lower and it's coinciding with each other.
I'd never seen that either. I'd never seen that.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. You know what I mean?
Yo, and I brought up the fact that Owaspy teaches us how to tell time.
Right.
You dig what I'm talking about?
It
talks about prophecy. Yeah, and Bible talks about prophecy, but it don't teach you how to prophesy, or that there are multiple ways to even do it.
Exactly, facts.
You dig what I'm talking about? So I was just bringing out the benefits, but I punched on he ducked for 2 years. He been ducking this smoke since like.
And you know what? That's maybe why he's probably spending them 2 years trying to get his shit together.
He ain't get it together. He should have got it together more. And you dig what I'm saying? And then that was lame that he kept saying Marlboro.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. I'm like, yo, these niggas gotta be retarded, man.
Yeah, man.
They're spelling the name wrong. They just like, y'all niggas supposed to be in superior intelligent niggas, and y'all can't get it right with that.
Yeah, man. Y'all
niggas is wild, son.
Yeah.
But that Q&A part, yo, you got that's where you nipped them in that part right there, yo. When you was holding him accountable to his God.
Yeah. And then it was going so fast. You dig what I'm talking about? I didn't get to get it out because I asked him what an angel was, asked him what a spirit was. I was about to ask him what a ghost was, and then I was going to ask him, well, which one is his God? A spirit, an angel, or a ghost? You dig what I'm saying? So which one is it? Is he a ghost, or is he a spirit?
Exactly.
Or is he an angel, like your Bible said in Acts 7:53? You dig what I'm saying? And then I just don't like the fact that they just be trying to say, oh, he was high. He had to be, delusional or some drugs. But the nigga who wrote your Bible is a dope fiend.
That mollywop.
He was off that molly water and that meth mixed together. He was off that water. That nigga start talking for 40 straight days. Listen, there's only meth and a cup. If you drink a cup of it, could you stay up and talk for 40 days?
Yeah, they on that mollywop, so I'm trying to. Yo, that's crazy. So I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then that's true, Tabitha. There ain't no real picture of JB. And
when you brought up that iconoclasm shit, I was like, oh shit, this nigga taking a jet.
Right, and then Owaspi admits that all its prophets are of the same line. Huh? Owaspi even say that.
That's crazy.
Bible hints to that. You know that it's supposedly of this Israelite blood that the prophets come through.
Right.
Huh? Owaspi say the same thing too. Right?
Yeah, that's crazy how they ain't got no pictures though, yo.
Right, but there ain't no real picture of this famous ass nigga who wrote a Bible.
Yeah, an encounter like none other. You know what I'm saying? And
right,
like,
and then he like everybody of the era know him.
Right.
Ain't no pictures of this man. We got pictures of the quote unquote Civil War.
Right. Facts.
But we ain't got no picture of this man in the 1880s, 90s.
That's crazy.
In Shalom.
That's
riding
crazy.
in a car, standing next to his wife. A picture of his kid, him with his kids. One of the most famous people. This man got about 16 patents. Huh? He came up with one of the very first calculators. Huh? This nigga struck it rich in California and struck it rich in Australia. And when the spiritual movement was going on and we thought you was fake and people thought you was fake, they put you under scrutiny. Right? The person that they went to go get to put you under scrutiny was JBN. Because he was known to be the real deal. And had been a clairvoyant, clairaudience since a child. They don't never tell you about that part.
Yeah, some other shit going on, yo.
And ain't no picture of this man. It's only one quote unquote lithogram, and it's the same picture of a nigga who went out west and created a whole city. Ain't no picture of this man. You lying. Right? So right there, I knew something was up. You dig what I'm saying? I didn't know what was up, but I knew something was up.
Right. Facts.
Right? And the fact is that we can't be showed that that's that nigga. And then let's go into his heritage, who he descend from. He descend from Huguenots, the French Huguenots, who are Sephardic Jews and converted Moriscos or Moors from Europe. So these is melanated niggas,
right?
In the 17 and 1800s,
right?
He descend from Huguenot stock, huh? So there's a possibility, a great possibility, that not only is you know, he got that faith, this Israelitish blood in him, but that he melanated. I ain't gonna say he blue black.
Right.
I don't know that. But there's a great chance that he melanated. Why? Because his ancestors are melanated.
Excuse me, facts.
Right? We even know dudes like Cotton Mather and them was niggas enslaving black Europeans, enslaving American indigenous European Indians. They like to say, oh, blacks enslaved blacks. No, it wasn't that simple. Huh? Black is that all-encompassing term that lump everybody into a category, into the same category.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So,
you
know what I mean?
They're gonna forever be hating on that shit, boy. But that's on them.
Yeah. See, and this is the thing. But we gotta look. Right there, sister. He said, sister said, even Abraham race needs questioning. He could have been passing for white. Well, ain't no white people from where he from.
Let's pull up some of the icon pictures. Let's pull up some of the Persian icons.
Right.
To show you how it would have fit his description that they described.
Oh, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was tawny, but he was a mixed up nigga too. He had a bunch of Indian and African and European blood and American blood in him too. He was tawny. He's a light-skinned nigga. But he didn't recognize himself as one. And he didn't have a problem enslaving niggas or Europeans. He didn't want to release the slaves. He had to made to see that was the best thing to do.
Here's how Abraham would have looked right here. Let me share the screen real quick.
Yeah, real.
You showed
Abraham Lincoln. Anyway. You talking about Abraham Lincoln, but
I thought you were talking about Abraham.
Yeah, but no, go show Abraham. I showed him too.
Yeah, you showed that shit yesterday too. So Abraham would have been looking like a nigga like this here.
Yep.
The beard would have probably been a little longer. Like this right here. Abraham would have run around with a lofty beard, nigga, smacking niggas with the left hand and with the right hand. Smacking niggas into righteousness. Like you. It's the Persian stock that Cosmo was talking about. The copper colored people. The
Elamites, Phoenicians, the Elamites, the Phoenicians.
This is your Hebrew stock and all that.
Southern Sumer. They're all Phoenician. They're all, Persian. The Persians, they're all from the same region. Remember, he migrated to the city of his fathers. Right? But it actually, that word for there also goes for brothers, family. You dig what I'm saying? And where did he go when he came up out of Persia? He went to Haran. They always seem to forget that Abraham had a brother named Haran.
Right.
Huh? We can tell where Moses is from because he has an eponymous ancestor. You dig
when
what I'm talking about?
They say the goddamn Asiatics came into Egypt, but it's these people, this lineage of people here. These are the people that migrated from Persia into the Levant, into Israel, and migrated into Egypt. The Shepherd Kings.
And they came north and south. You got to come over to Zagros.
You know what?
That's why you see him as high as up as Babylon and all the way up there in Syria. But you see him way down in Sumer too, at the below Sumer in the Elamite dynasties.
Facts.
You dig what I'm saying? So, yeah, Abraham would have been a big old nigga, and he got an eponymous ancestor too. What is Abraham daddy name? Terah.
Right.
Where is the city of Terah? It is the capital of modern day Iran, Tehran. Where is the city of Abraham? Anybody know that there was a city called the city of Abraham? Where is it? It's in Iran too. Remember, Owaspi say he came out of Tehran, and he went south to a desert called Daud. Where is there a Daud desert now? Where is it at? It's in Iran. Huh?
Exactly.
Phoenician means people of the hills. They come from the Zagros.
Hey, look at these niggas copper colored. These niggas straight
copper color. Negroes, but not Hamitic. They're Shemitic. You got to remember, this is what they don't understand, Selah. The continents are smashed into each other. The African and Arabian continent is smashed into the Indian continent. It's smashed into the Asian continent. Where they smash at, right? Where continents meet, right? Where continents touch, there's always a mountain range. Where multiple continents touch, there's multiple ranges. Does anybody know where the most mountainous region of the world is? It's ancient Persia, right? Buttressed in the west by the Zagros, the Hindus in the south, the Himalayas in the east, and the Altai in the north. It's the most healed place, and this is why the people who come up out of there go on to be called shepherd kings.
Exactly. Now look at that. Look at the Persian next to a Canaanite bound in Kemet. Same goddamn people. You know how you can tell they're the same people? They always keep that headband on their head.
Yep.
The niggas got the headband on the Persian, and this is an Egyptian glyph with the same headband on, showing you their custom and culture carried into Kemet.
With the laid down kinky lock too.
Right. You remember niggas used to have that shag back in the day? Remember the shag and shit? You remember that, cuz? Yo.
Them ain't nothing but dreads.
You remember the shag? That haircut?
Yeah, the shag. Yeah, it had the little thing in the back, the little poof in the back. God damn, they showed the white girl with it. Damn, they showed the white girl.
Shag, there you go. The shag, boy. That's that Mesopotamia. See, look, them niggas holding up their culture. Look at that. They got the shag, got them in the Elim, Persian shag. You got the nigga shag today and shit. Straight.
Butter junk too. His joint butter.
Look at that. Look at that. What are you talking about? Niggas got the shag going. Hell no.
Boy, that's the right there. There you go, right there.
That's the shag. That's that Persian shag, my nigga.
Yeah, one to the left. That one to the left, that's the Persian shag.
Right there, the Persian shag.
That's
right there. That's them boys right there. See that? The same people from back then is the same people you see right here. That's crazy, yo.
Yeah, man. Y'all gonna get, y'all got, listen, the thing is, they just got to get past the colorism. You got to get past the racism. You got to get past the bias. And
Right.
just stick to the facts and what can be proved.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Don't worry about nothing else. And then prove it satisfactorily to yourself. It don't matter what nobody else say about it.
Right.
Right? But don't deny it. Right? When you come into some information, yay or nay, just take it all in and then use your discernment. Use your higher judgment.
Yo, this nigga say the wheelchair god got the shack too. Let me pull up the wheelchair god. Let me see.
Man, not the wheelchair guy got the shizzy.
You trying to tell me Yahweh got the shag, yo? Let me see if Yahweh got the shag, son. We have to compare Yahweh shag to see what's going on with this shit.
Man, the false god got the shizzlestein on. Man,
Yo, he got the
yo, yo,
Yo, Yahweh is a Persian, yo.
man, that's crazy.
Yo, he got the shag, son.
It makes sense. They said ball.
Yo, look. That nigga, and you know they say the Persians is the one who created. This is during the Persian reign when this depiction was created.
Yeah,
that's crazy, yo. Yahweh got the shag, son.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, you got it. Now we know for a fact Yahweh's a nigga.
Man,
he got the Persian shag, yo.
And Yahweh is ball.
Oh, there you go, right there. The Persian shag. Let me put it up close to each other. Yahweh.
Yeah.
So Yahweh. Persian swag, yo. Shag. That's crazy. Yahweh a Persian, son. Yo, he cracking up in the chat, yo.
Part of marching band.
Yahweh is a Persian god.
Sports as a career. I really wanted to.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. That shit nuts, man.
My parents told me that I was never going to make any money doing that.
Yes, man.
So I went to school for criminology and psychology.
Man, I'm about to get off here. I just want to hop on for a minute. Just, you know what I mean? Touch on your little debate with this nigga. Goddamn, you on and shit. You cook that nigga, you know what I mean?
Felt like a weirdo.
Shit,
I'm
man.
about to get out the backyard.
I really don't feel like I
that nigga, when you try to, when you was like, yo, what's the difference between Lord and God? And he was like, well, it depends on the content. So you trying to tell me it's a difference, or is he the same or not?
Right.
You had him locked in right there.
We were the
easy work. You dig what I'm talking about? That was easy work.
You
dig what I'm saying? But for sure, hey man, Creator is undefeated, man.
That's right.
He is truly undefeated. You dig what I'm talking about? So, yeah, man. Another fire build, man. Just a quick lesson. Had to stop through, man. Show some love to my boy Selah Shalom, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit that button, subscribe, man. And even if you've been on here a while, go check your thing, go back and hit all again, so you can be tapped in to all the you can get, it's cool. So you can get all the
They're like, I'm pretty sure I saw you on television. Then my dad started getting this too.
Watch out. Move.
Oh, that good information, man. I did.
Hold on. Go ahead, bro. Hold on.
No. Go ahead, man. I'm about to go to sign out anyway, man.
All right. Hey, love, light, balance, y'all, man. I'll holler at y'all in a minute.
All right, Cosmology, be safe out there.
All right.
Salute to the righteous God. You know what I mean? Yeah, your boy Salah Shalom just wanted to come on here and expound on, is the Holy Bible really good for our people? And as you see, as we made a cross comparison with the Owaspi and the Holy Bible, you see that the Owaspi It's way more beneficial because it's exposing you to things that the Bible is not, which is very detrimental as far as your worship, where you headed after you leave this plane. It's very important. Y'all keep following them false gods. That's on y'all. But you come over here, you're going to be safe with the creator game because we follow the creator, not in the image of man, the ever present, through righteousness and good works, pure diet. We're going to rise into these atmospheric and etheric planes and continue to move forward. That your boy Shalom out of here. Salute to the family. And before we go, let me hit y'all with the bittersweet. Make sure to get y'all bittersweet herbals. You know what I mean? Stay healthy. Because you know the Owaspy stresses health and diet. Impurity resides on a lower level. Purity resides high above. All right.
Bittersweet herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com.
Run the rhythm.
Bittersweet herbals. What it tastes is bitter, but the results are sweet. Bittersweetherbals.com.
Yes, family, make sure to get your bitters, and your boy Shalom is out of here. Deuces. Let's ride.
Jehovah is as near this day as in the time of the ancients. Put yourself in order, becoming one with him. And no book is so easily read as his created universe. Inspiration comes less by books than by what Jehovah wrote. His worlds read him and his works. Frame your speech and your thoughts for him. He will answer you in your own behavior and in the happiness of your soul.
Great wisdom cannot be attained in a day, nor purity and strength to overcome temptation, till the growth is from the foundation. The fool will say, the sacred books are no more than man of his own knowledge could write. Yet he has not wisely imitated the power of the words of your God. Let him do this well, and behold, he will also declare my words are from me. Yes, he will recognize them wherever found. It is the will and wish of your God that all men become constitutionally capable of receiving and comprehending the highest life, and that they shall no longer depend upon any priest, church, oracle, holy book, or upon consulting the spirits, and that their behavior may make the earth a place of peace, with long life to all people, for the glory of Jehovah.
To his Etherian gods and goddesses, Jehovah said, as you have founded arcs of light in my Etherian heavens, to determine the travel of my corporeal worlds, so shall my God of the earth inspire mortals to build lighthouses for man's ships that travel on the oceans, and those who travel in the ships. And those on the land shall know when a ship nears the port, even as you see my traveling earth approaching the place of Cosmology.
For this shall be an illustration to mortals, that I have appointed cycles of times and dawns of times, with gods and goddesses to superintend my creations in tenderness and love, lest by chance man becomes despondent, saying, alas, Jehovah did not provide in wisdom commensurate with the magnificence of his creations. Behold, the time draws near when the nations of the earth shall course around the whole earth in ships, crossing the seas and oceans to all the places I created.